When it comes to self-help, you want to get right to the point. The workbook from author Alicia Puzzany, Emotional Strength Explained, can help you see results quickly instead of overthinking or operating from a naive, unsure, or people-pleasing state where you look for immediate gratification. With the help of this workbook, you can become stronger emotionally. Whether you're embarking on something new or working through things with yourself or others, understanding what makes you, you is the crucial first step in coming out on top. Your emotions don't have to control your life. You can learn a better way. With this workbook, you'll work toward a stronger, more confident, less needy you. It's for adolescents, teenagers, adults, and seniors. This is an easy-to-use workbook. With just a few minutes each day, you can become stronger and feel better. You can use this workbook over and over through various areas and stages of your life. Life isn't easy. When times get tough, we need to dig deep and utilize our emotional strength. Emotional Strength Explained from author Alicia Puzzany. Available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon and the author's website, aliciapuzzany.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And make sure that you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to us on. Well, we've got some good news. Some good news today, and that is the Kim Potter sentencing. She is the former police officer who was convicted of manslaughter in the Daunte Wright killing that happened last year. And she got a sentence which is
very lenient.
And
she's got lucky.
She's been in jail for a while. So she's going to be out of prison, Kim Potter, in 14 months. And I'm going to read through the story of the update, but let me tell you this, okay?
She got sentenced to 2 years, but she has time served.
Yeah, so she's got 14 months left, and then she'll be out. And she shouldn't be in jail at all. Daunte Wright was a wanted felon. He was driving a car with expired plates. He had a suspended license. I believe he was high on drugs. He had a warrant out for his arrest. He had robbed a woman at gunpoint and stole money that was hidden inside of her bra, and he tried to escape from the police officers. And it's a tragedy that it happened, but Daunte Wright put everything in place that set that situation up. And Kim Potter,
he definitely escalated things.
Oh yeah, Officer Kim Potter. It's a tragedy. I don't want people to understand. I'm sorry that it happened, but he tried to escape, and he was a wanted felon that was wanted on a gun charge. Pretty serious business.
So when he gets pulled over. Pulling people over is one of the most dangerous parts of being a police officer is the traffic stops.
I got nervous today. We went to the teller machine, the drive-up teller, and to make a deposit, had cash, and I'm depositing cash into our bank account. And there's a guy standing behind our car at the drive-thru. I looked, what's going on? He's walking around. He had a motorcycle, which I've never seen drive up to the teller. Can you imagine being a cop and you're stopping people and you're going to be taking away their freedom?
It's very dangerous. And so if you're approaching somebody who has a warrant out for their arrest on a gun charge, you're going to assume they're a violent person. And you also could assume they might have a gun in the car. And when he tried to get away and went back in the car, her thinking was he's reaching for a gun. He's going to get a gun. Well, because that's what cops are trained to think.
Even if he wasn't wanted in a regular situation.
Yeah, exactly.
And let me tell you, when I was younger, I had something happen to me when I was about 18 or 19, and I was driving home, and it was late at night, like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I got pulled over. And there was a police officer behind me, and he was on the PA system talking to me, and I couldn't understand him. And I did something that was stupid, but I was a kid, I was 18, 19. I'd never been in trouble with the law. I didn't get in trouble then either, but I couldn't understand him. And I was like 18, 19, and what I did was so stupid, and the cop flipped out. I couldn't hear him. Like, I can't hear you. I can hear you, but I can't understand what you're saying. He didn't hear me. He kept yelling at me, and I couldn't understand what he was saying because it was muffled on the PA and everything. I opened up the door and started to get out of the car. Oh my goodness. Things got escalated like you would not believe. Yeah. There were guns coming and everything else. Get back in the car. I did not tell you to exit the vehicle. He had his gun out. He was behind his door, like for cover, looking at me through the window. And I'm not Daunte Wright that has warrants. What Kim Potter's mistake was when it happened and she got scared and she started saying things because she was panicked. It
made her look like yelling taser, taser, taser made it look suspicious the way she acted, because she would clearly know the difference between a gun and a taser. I think the taser is bright yellow and thick, and you don't carry it on your dominant hand. She could see she had her gun. I don't know why she yelled that. It made it to me. I'm not saying this is what happened, but it made it to me look. I don't know why she said that. It made no sense. It made it confusing. And it really muddied her defense.
Well, that came out in court.
And helped the prosecution.
The way they train some police departments train in very strange ways. I took a concealed weapon permit course at a gun range here in Florida, and it was taught by a guy who did training with police officers in the military, and he had a retired police officer in his concealed weapon permit course. And every time this guy would fire his gun, he'd holster it again. Yeah. And he was trained as a police officer with his department. Every time he fired the gun, holster it again, which is insane because if you're in a firefight, and he was just instinct.
You mean a gunfight?
And a gunfight, yeah. What did I say?
Firefight.
Firefight and a knife fight, a gunfight is the same thing. A firefight and a gunfight are the same thing. It's another word for a gunfight.
I didn't know that. Never heard that term ever.
But yeah. But the taser is part of the training with this department. I don't know if other departments do this. And the reason they yell out taser is so that the other officers are not touching the suspect so they don't get shocked.
Yeah, I know.
So,
but it just didn't make sense to me.
But so,
it muddied things.
Yeah.
With her, and the problem with it is what came out is the problem she had was the prosecutor was very good and her attorney was very inept. I mean, she was being questioned, and her lawyer actually argued with her.
She had incompetent
while
counsel.
she was on this witness stand, and I even said to you, "Is this her attorney?" And you said, "No way. There's no way. This has got to be the prosecutor." It was her lawyer.
Yeah,
he was actually reprimanding her and arguing with her.
Yeah.
And I just thought, well, if this is her lawyer, she's in trouble.
Yeah.
So she had a bad lawyer. The prosecutor was very good. But I will say this with the sentencing, she's lucky she got a judge that clearly is pro-cop and understands the what happened, because she could have easily gone to jail for 20 years. If she had some liberal, woke, activist type cop judge, she'd put her in for 20, 25 years for that.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
So she's lucky. Easy. She got a judge that obviously understands these things happen. But now everything is recorded and on video, and you have all these activists that intimidate judges and intimidate DAs and to get things to happen. Mm-hmm. But you know, if you compare that to Derek Chauvin, there's a stark differences in that situation. She had to think very quickly in seconds to decide what to do. And you can't fault her for that. She was just doing what she was trained to do. Yeah. Like you said, he had warrants of a violent past.
Gun charges.
And car stops are very dangerous that's like one of the most dangerous things a cop can do, because you don't know what you're getting into. Derek Chauvin was different because he put his knee on George Floyd for a long time and just sat there and did nothing while there was a crowd around. Clearly a different thing. He had plenty of time to do something, to stop what he was doing. Kim Potter, everything happened in seconds. You know what I mean? And but she didn't help herself on the witness stand. It just was, a bad situation. But anyway, she got a really small sentence. She got lucky. She'll be out probably in a year and move on with her life. She'll be out in a year.
And, the reason that she was arrested and charged at all is because of, George Floyd. Everybody knows
Well, they're
that.
afraid of the city being burned down.
Yeah, I mean, she shouldn't have
they arrest these cops.
She shouldn't have been in jail at all.
To placate these mobs.
No, she should not be doing any anytime. Now I want to
she got lucky. She really did.
Yeah, I want to read through the story for the update with the sentencing today. It says here, the family of Daunte Wright reacted angrily on Friday to white former cop Kim Potter being sentenced to just a year in prison for shooting dead their son last April after mistaking her gun for a taser, saying, "White woman tears trump justice." That's what the Daunte Wright family said. After the sentence was handed down by a judge who cried herself during the hearing. Potter, age 48, was sentenced to 24 months, far less than the maximum of 7 years.
Oh, 7 years. Okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah, because she was charged with manslaughter. But she will serve only 14 months thanks to an 8-month good behavior concession from the judge and 2 months of time served. She's been serving time since the sentencing.
Right.
So
manslaughter is only 7 years?
So she's only going to serve 14 months total. Then she'll have, probation. In December, she was convicted of first-degree manslaughter for killing Daunte Wright, a 21-year-old black man, while trying to arrest him. She and other cops had pulled him over in Brooklyn Center near Minneapolis for driving with expired license tags. There was a warrant out for his arrest. He tried to drive away from them, which is why she reached for the taser.
Let me ask you a question. Why is it, and you guys can answer too, why is it when these things happen that the left and the mob and all these people, they never acknowledge the role that the suspect plays?
No.
They never acknowledge the fact that Daunte Wright escalated things. They never acknowledge the fact that the reason this all happened was because he resisted arrest. If he would have just complied and went with them and let them put the cuffs on him, he'd be alive. He might have gone to jail for a couple years, but he'd be alive. How come they never acknowledge the role of the suspect? George Floyd, what happened to him was not good, but he came out, and if you saw the video, he was extremely erratic, difficult, arguing with the cops, not complying, and all these things escalate the situation where it doesn't need to be escalated. How come no blame is ever put on the suspects for their role in this? I mean, they act like he did nothing wrong.
Well, the judge, her name is Chu, who has been a judge since 2002, was appointed by Jesse Ventura, who was governor at that time in 2002.
Oh, yeah, I remember Jesse.
She told Daunte Wright's family they should try to feel empathy for Kim Potter, said that she had clearly shown remorse since the shooting. The judge quoted Barack Obama and told the family to try to walk in someone else's shoes. Kim Potter has served 58 days in a women's prison, which will be applied to her sentence, meaning she will serve a total of 14 more months. Wright's family had tearfully begged the judge to hand down the maximum sentence of 7 years. They called the killing a murder, said Potter, a mother of two and 26-year veteran of the police force, showed not enough remorse. Kim Potter on Friday struggled through tears of her own while she apologized to them. She told them that she prayed for them and Dante every day. Her lawyers asked for probation, saying she was no risk to society and could never own a gun again, much less be a cop. The judge said a custodial sentence was necessary, but then gave a speech that was sympathetic to cops, in particular Kim Potter.
That's what I'm saying. She got lucky with a judge who sympathizes with the police.
Yeah, not some cop hater.
Yeah.
So here's what the judge said. This is a quote from the judge. "I recognize there will be those who disagree with this sentence. This does not in any way diminish Daunte Wright's life. His life mattered. To those who disagree and feel a longer prison sentence is appropriate, as difficult as it may be, please try to empathize with Ms. Potter's situation." After the sentencing, Daunte Wright's mother gave a statement saying, "We're very disappointed in the outcome. This is not okay. This is the problem with our justice system. White woman tears trump justice. I thought my white woman tears would be good enough," she said, because Daunte Wright's mother's white. He was
They got to make everything about race.
Well, yeah.
It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the fact.
Well, no, she was arrested because of race, because of she was white and she shot a black guy after the George Floyd. But I'll tell you, I'm happy with the sentence. I don't think she should be doing any time.
I'm sure she's happy too.
14 months is a long time. But Daunte Wright,
but she'll get out early for good behavior. She'll be out probably in a year or 9 months, and it'll go by very quickly. And she's only in her 40s, so she'll move on. I'm sure she regrets what happened. But I thought it would be 20 years, but she could have gotten 7 years, so which is still not horrible. It's not like Chauvin, who got 25 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to serve a lot more.
You know, the guy, his name's Sean that does the Trump voice?
Sean Farash, he's awesome.
Okay, Sean Farash, you guys have seen him. He does that great imitation of
the
Trump.
Best
all over
imitation
social
I've
media.
ever seen.
And he said something today about the Freedom Convoy.
Yeah, does he have a podcast or what does he have exactly?
I don't know.
Because I saw the same video on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you what he said. I'm not going to play the audio, but he said something that was so brilliant about the Freedom Convoy, the Freedom Truckers. He said because right now as we speak, arrests are being made. The cops, the Canadian police have moved in on the truckers. They're doing mass arrest in the snow. I was watching it right before the podcast. And what Sean Farash said, he says the Canadian truckers should claim asylum at the U.S. northern border, like what happens when they come up here from the Mexican border of the United States. They claim oppression and asylum from whatever, Guatemala, where they're from. And, that would be fascinating because the Democrats, Biden, Kamala, the media would not accept that. They would not allow them.
They gave Trudeau advice to have them arrested.
Yeah, they would not grant them asylum.
No, but that would be a good
and they would say,
move.
go back and be oppressed and be jailed for a nonviolent protest. That's it. And Sean Farash is a smart guy. I thought that was amazing. But I'll tell you this: if you watch, and this will be going on, I don't know how long it's going to take them to round them up. The police are moving slowly, but I was watching a lot of the video of the police moving in today, and I got to tell you, Canada is not like the United States. Everyone's people are pissed and they're blowing horns, but I haven't seen anything physical. No one's resisting.
No.
And
they're known for that. They're not as ornery as we are. That's
when the police make an arrest, they do it. They don't resist.
Yeah,
and the cops don't get attacked. No one's throwing bottles of urine or rocks or things like they do here.
They're not like the liberals here.
No, but and it really shows you who the good guys are and the bad guys are.
And that's the way to handle it. Yeah,
the bad guys are the cops here.
Right, that's the way to handle it. When you get out of control and act like that, then you instantly they can villainize you very easily.
Yeah.
You have to control yourself.
Well, in Canada, I think there's a lot of confusion in Canada. And I think the reason there's a lot of confusion, and I know Canadians listening may disagree with this, but maybe you will not disagree with this. In Canada, you've not had civil rights movements in your country like we've had in ours. And the United States has had nothing but, even before we were a country, Did
they ever have slavery in Canada?
No.
Yeah, they don't have the same history at all that we do.
No.
Not even close.
And
but they did have slavery in England and Europe.
Yeah, but that was over a long time ago.
Yeah.
But they've never had any type of civil rights movements at all. Even the Boston Massacre, in Boston, the those guys in Boston were standing up for their rights and their liberty.
Yeah.
So the United States, even though they were part of the the British colonies too, they weren't like our colonies. And I think this is, to my knowledge, this is the first time Canadians in a group have stood up in any type of mass civil disobedience. I'm sure they've had some problems like with the Indians up there, or maybe there's been some, and I know they've had some
First Nation.
Yeah, they've had some issues with the French Canadians from time to time, but nothing like this has occurred. I think
the last time they had issues was with Quebec, when Quebec wanted to become their own country.
Yeah, but they had
that was like a big deal in the 80s or whenever that happened. I remember that.
They had a vote on that. There have been some.
No, but I think there were protests then and things like that.
They've had some violent French Canadian separatists, like we have the Puerto Rican terrorist, that want Puerto Rican independence. But that's
not in this level.
There hasn't been ever, to my knowledge, a large like this of peaceful civil disobedience. And I think part of the reason that, and I am not defending Trudeau or the Ottawa police chief, these are creeps, but I think they don't understand it. Because they've never had it in Canada. They don't understand civil disobedience. They don't understand protest.
You mean the leaders?
The leaders, because it's never happened. It's not a part of their history.
No, it's not.
And
I don't think it's
confused
even
by it.
in their constitution or whatever they have the right to is it? Do they have that as part of their?
I don't know. They keep talking about their charters and all that. It's not.
We don't know anything.
What
about
they
that.
have isn't like ours. See, Canada. But the thing about there's a lot of differences between Canada and the United States. But one of the differences is the Canadians didn't fight for their independence. It was just kind of given to them.
Yeah, if we had never had the Revolutionary War, we would be a lot like them.
Yeah, but our country was founded on a violent revolution.
Exactly.
So,
and what I'm saying? We'd be like Canada in a lot of ways if we had never had that.
Yeah, and the founding fathers were committing treason against England. So, this country has been founded on this type of thing. Canada was not. So the leaders...
we have a long history of this stuff.
The leaders are tyrants. They're dictators. They're Nazis and all of that. But they're also confused and they don't understand it. And I find them... The person I found the most disgusting out of this really so far was the chief of police of Ottawa. The chief of police of Ottawa, they went in and arrested the convoy leaders yesterday. Now they're doing the arrest today. And he had a press conference yesterday, and he says, we're just tired of this. You just need to get back to work, and it's disruptive. I have not heard one private citizen come out publicly and complain about the Freedom Truckers. I've only heard government officials, And maybe in your news up in Canada, you're seeing some regular people gripe, but everything I've seen that regular citizens are in support of them. And this is what Canada right now in 2022. This is like their 1960s. This is like their civil rights movement has just begun in Canada.
You're right. They're not used to civil unrest. It's a part of American culture. I would think that is like one of the things that's very much part of American society, American history, American culture is protesting, rising up. And it goes way back, like you said, beginning with the Revolutionary War, maybe even before that, with citizens getting together and rising up and protesting and things like that. I mean, they used to tar and feather people in the streets, that were on opposite sides politically. And America just has a history of this sort of thing, just like we have a gun culture. It's just different. There's similarities, but there's also, we share a common language and we share some common ancestries as far as
our cultures
European
are
ancestries.
A lot different.
But but the cultures are very different in a lot of ways.
I was talking about this on the radio this morning. I saw a while back. I saw an interview with the woman that's the leader of Black Lives Matter in England, and she made a very interesting point. Okay, and I believe me, I'm not agreeing with Black Lives Matter in England. And I'm not agreeing with Black Lives Matter anywhere. Black Lives Matter is a big real estate scam, it seems, where the leaders buy multi-million-dollar houses. But she was an English girl, and she's black. And she was on an interview. They says, well, why is Black Lives Matter in England?
Exactly.
You don't have that antebellum history they have in America. And she made one good, broken clock, right? But she says something I thought was interesting. She said, in England, we never had a civil rights movement like they had in the United States. So, there's never been true equality. And I don't know if this is true of England. It's Black Lives Matter. They're always griping. They're griping here. But she says we don't have true equality here because we've never had a civil rights movement like they had in the United States.
So we have true equality here? Is that what
I guess that's what she was saying.
So I guess she's acknowledging we have true equality here?
But what I'm seeing in Canada, in Ottawa, with the Freedom Convoy, we call them the Freedom Truckers in America, but the headlines in Canada say Freedom Convoy. But the Freedom Truckers, the Freedom Convoy, it is, without a doubt, it's the beginning of a new civil rights movement. And these elitists like Trudeau, these dictators like Trudeau, their days are numbered. And there will be some people among these truckers who are going to wind up in Parliament, and it's going to start a movement where they pick a prime minister at some point that's representative of them. And this is the beginning of major change in Canada. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, you don't want to miss this next segment. We're going to talk about strangest story in the news this week. When we get back, you will not want to miss it. All right, I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
From author Davinder Kaur comes your next must-read book, Forced to Marry Him, A Lifetime of Tradition and the Will to Break It. Available on Amazon. In the late 1980s, Davinder Kaur was forced to marry a man she didn't know. But when she was only 14 years old, the marriage was arranged and set to occur when she turned 18. After 4 long years of internal turmoil and despair, she had 2 choices: adhere to the customs and traditions of her family or risk bringing dishonor to their home. Davinder didn't like either option, so she made a plan to survive. In the book, Forced to Marry Him, the author tells of the pain, lies, and betrayal she suffered at the hands of those who were meant to protect her most. But her story doesn't end there. Davinder's willingness to speak out and fight not only saved her life, but the lives of many other women and young girls over the years. She offers courage and strength to those who can't advocate for themselves, and she works with organizations all over the world to help end arranged and forced marriages. The author gives a voice to the voiceless as she breaks down walls to eradicate cultural and traditional abuse. This book is perfect for book clubs. Forced to Marry Him, A Lifetime of Tradition and the Will to Break It, from author Davinder Kaur. Available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon. You can also find the author on Twitter and Instagram at LUCHANIK or visit her website LUCHANIK.com. I love my MyPillow towels. Unlike other towels, the MyPillow towel absorbs. They're soft to the touch. They come with a 10-year warranty, a 60-day money-back guarantee. Mike Lindell says towels that actually work. What a concept. But don't just take my word for it. Christine from Pennsylvania called live on the radio and shared her experience with her MyPillow towels.
I was just going to say, I bought the MyPillow, my towels, a couple weeks ago, and they are fabulous. They are the best towels I've ever used. They're just the right amount of thickness. They're not too thin, they're not too thick, and they're a great length. They're like longer than your average towel, and they are fabulous, luxurious.
You know, what's amazing to me about the MyPillow towels, Mike Lindell's a genius with his inventions. It absorbs the water, and the towel's not soaking wet after.
Yes, exactly.
You know, other towels, the water just kind of lays on top of them. They don't absorb it, and you're just smothering water, smearing it around on your body. Now with the MyPillow towels. What color did you get?
I got the sage green.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to order more because I love purple, and I'm going to have to get a purple.
Man, my wife's ordering the purple, too. And she says it doesn't match our bathrooms, but she likes the purple anyway, so we're getting purple.
Who cares?
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Christine, thank you so much. The MyPillow towels are normally $109.99, but with our promo code at checkout, Kane, K-A-N-E, just $39.99. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane.
What you wear can say a lot about who you are. You can express your personality and style with a collection of t-shirts and hoodies at Moonlight T Designs on Etsy.com. Whatever kind of t-shirts and hoodies you like, they have them. Moonlight T Designs on Etsy have something for everyone. You can head out of the door with a shirt or hoodie that you're proud of and experience the joy of comfort wherever you go. Moonlight T Designs on Etsy was inspired by the love of animals. The items are very positive and funny. Everything is made with premium, soft, and soothing fabric that feels great. The shirts and hoodies are breathable, comfortable, and always in style. They have different color options to choose from. Everything in the shop makes a great gift for a friend or loved one. Worldwide delivery is available. Go to the shop right now online at etsy.com/shop/Moonlight T Designs. That's the letter T. Etsy.com/shop/Moonlight T Designs. View the inventory and take your casual look to a new level with t-shirts and hoodies from Moonlight T Designs on Etsy. Etsy.com/shop/Moonlight T Designs.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And if you want to support the show by becoming a Patreon supporter, there are great perks to doing that, including commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. There's a link in the description of this episode to our Patreon page. You click that link, and it'll explain exactly what to do if you would like to become a Patreon supporter. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Jacqueline, Rick, Rich, and Nick. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all for your support. And again, there's a link to our Patreon page in the description of this and every episode of the program. Okay, now this is a story we would not normally be on the kind of theme we would talk about, but it's so strange, so bizarre, and pretty outrageous. It's something we got to talk about. It's about this TikTok star. Okay, I'm going to read the headline, then we'll go through the story in detail. But here's the headline. TikTok star, age 15, defends selling selfies to stalker who tried to kill her and says she will stay on TikTok where she makes $1,700 per TikTok video. Her ex-cop dad shot dead an 18-year-old boy who showed up at their house with a shotgun when he did not get explicit content from her. You may have seen this story, and the father's being hailed as a hero. This happened here in Florida, and I heard about the story, and I didn't really pay too much attention to it. And I was reading the news earlier, and there was a big story about it. And I said, well, let me read the story. What's this about? And I was like shocked and disgusted by what I read. And I thought I'd have to share this with you. This is so strange, okay? TikTok star Ava, I guess her name is Marjorie, Magury. TikTok star Ava Marjorie and her parents have defended selling her selfies to a stalker who tried to kill her and was shot dead by her father last July, and revealed she will stay on TikTok where she makes $1,700 a video despite safety risks. Ava, her retired cop father Rob, and her mother Kimberly appeared on Good Morning America today to share more details about the shooting at their home in Naples, Florida. Naples, Florida is on the Gulf Coast of Florida and pretty much due east.
Due west.
I'm sorry, yeah, due west. Due east is the ocean, is the beach, is due west of where we are. Let's see here.
It's nice. Naples is very nice.
Yes. Last July, 18-year-old Eric Rohan Justin traveled from Maryland to Naples, Florida with a gun, intent on killing Ava. At 4:30 a.m., he blasted open the front door of the family home. He had been vying for her attention on TikTok for months. Bought her phone number from her friends. So somehow, I guess through her friends on TikTok or social media, he contacted them, got her phone number by paying her friends for it.
No, what he did was what I read is he somehow got into her school, like through Facebook or something, found out what school she went to, and got to her friends list and friended her friends. That's what these guys do, and then contacted. And then I read one article. He did math homework for one of her classmates in exchange for her address.
Oh my goodness!
Nice people.
He also paid her friends for photographs of her that were not on the internet. Now, keep in mind, this girl at the time was 14 years old. Ava also had direct contact with the stalker and sold him 2 selfies of her.
Well, she's stupid. Her parents should be having more involvement in this.
Yeah. Ava also had direct contact with the stalker and sold him 2 selfies of her for $300, which he paid via Venmo. And this is what she said on Good Morning America today. After talking to both my parents, I thought it would be mutual if I got in contact with him directly, I said. Hey, can you stop going through my friends and stop contacting people for information about me? Just come straight to me and you can purchase it all from me. So,
oh my gosh.
So she was, this 14-year-old girl who's now 15, she was upset that her friends were making
money off her.
And she wasn't making money.
Wow. She's lucky her dad was there. Let me tell you, because if not, she'd be dead right now.
He then started asking for more explicit content, and that's when Rob, her father, became involved. Rob told Eric to remember that she was a minor and to stop contacting her. She blocked him, but he continued sending her money, $159.18, then $100 and $368.50.
So she kept accepting his money, even though he was getting aggressive.
Yeah.
When Eric, a lot of things went wrong.
When Eric showed up at the house in the middle of the night and shot open the door, Ava, her mother, and her 2 brothers ran into the bedroom. Her father, a retired Jersey...
She put her whole family in danger. They could all been killed.
Yep. Her father, a retired police officer, grabbed his gun, went to the front door of the home where he shot Justin. And he died at the hospital. Eric then... this is written very poorly.
Yeah, a lot of articles are these days.
They have the paragraphs out of context for the stories. This next paragraph...
Because they copy and paste from other paragraphs.
Should have been up higher when, Eric started demanding more explicit content, and Ava blocked him, the father said. The stalker did seem apologetic when he contacted him. A friend of Ava's at school revealed that Eric had contacted him and warned him that he planned to hurt her, but the family shrugged it off. I neglected it and said, the person we suspect is the author of any of these. He lives in Maryland. He's young, probably doesn't have the means to act on any of these things, says the father.
What a stupid family.
Yeah.
I mean, if this was our daughter, first of all, thank God Emily was never into social media, but we never encouraged her to do that. But I would never allow my daughter, especially somebody 14, to be selling photographs of herself. I don't care how much money she's making, to strange men. That's insane. He's a cop. He should know better. He should absolutely know better. That's a disgrace. She's lucky her dad had a gun in the house because that guy would have gone in and killed her whole damn family.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. That's what his intent was. He was pissed. And she kept accepting money from him after things escalated. I'm not saying it's her fault, but she didn't discourage this guy.
He commented on her pages under the username EricJustin111, bombarded her with messages, contacted her old friends in Jersey.
Wow.
They sold him photos of her that weren't online, gave him her phone number.
Oh, my gosh.
It's not clear how much he paid for the phone number. Her parents, now listen to this. Her parents, now keep in mind, she was 14 at the time. This kid was 18. Her parents allowed her to directly sell selfies to him. She said they were innocent, showing only her smile, which is what she shows on TikTok. When he started asking for more explicit content, the father reminded him that she was a minor.
What is
asked
wrong
to stop
with her father?
her.
He is an ex-cop, and he is letting his teenage daughter sell photos, even if they're just her face, to a strange man. What is wrong with these people? That is nuts.
I got to tell you.
If you're letting your kid do that, you need to seriously think about your parenting skills.
I got to tell you.
That's crazy.
This is the sickest, strangest story I've ever heard. And I don't understand why the parents aren't in some kind of trouble. I understand.
I agree with you.
I understand that the pictures she was sending were not explicit photographs.
Well, we haven't seen them. You don't know.
No, they said that.
Yeah, but it could have been her in a skimpy top or a bikini.
Maybe.
You don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. But they said they were just face pictures of her smiling. I don't know. But for a parent to allow a 14-year-old child to sell any photograph to a man, even though they're 18, they're an adult man, that's, to me, unfit parenting.
I agree.
I mean, and there's no getting around that. Totally, 100% unfit parents. Let us know what you think about that in the comments. And TikTok allowing her to maintain she has several accounts, allowing her to maintain all of these accounts when she was engaged in behavior that led to someone, even though it was self-defense, led to someone's death. I mean, this is crazy to me.
Well, I don't think she's going to have any more problems with stalkers anymore. I mean, nobody's going to go near her now.
I don't know about that.
No way. You know, after this guy got blown away,
what the parents did today was stupid. They went on Good Morning America with her, and of course,
well, now her TikTok will blow up.
Well, that was what I was about to say. Yeah. Now I don't know how many followers I'm not on TikTok. I don't have a TikTok. So I can't check her followers, but whatever number of followers she had yesterday, she's got a lot more today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can make a lot of money on TikTok. This is why these kids don't get jobs at McDonald's. Yeah. Because they make $2,000 a video on TikTok.
Well,
what the hell?
What did not surprise me about this story was that the girl was doing this, like selling the photographs and stuff.
Yeah.
What surprised me is that her parents knew about it,
and that her father was a police officer.
This is the kind of thing that teenage girls do a lot of stupid things. Okay,
that's for sure.
So I don't fault the 14-year-old kid. That they're a kid, they're stupid. There's a lot of money involved. They're not thinking clearly. They don't understand. But the parents knew she was doing this. That's what just like totally blew my mind.
Yeah.
If I don't care how much my daughter was making. I really don't. I don't care if it was 17 million a video. I would not let a 17-year-old or a 14-year-old kid send photographs to 18-year-old men.
Well, it's
like
dangerous.
This.
I mean, look what happened. I mean, obviously, and she's continuing to do it. I mean, and like I said, the fact that her dad was a cop, he should know better. They deal with this kind of stuff.
All the time.
Cops know what the world's all about. They see it every day. They see the worst part of society. And he didn't think for a second, this is not a good idea. It sounded like they were encouraging it. I mean, you know what I mean? This is crazy. And to still continue doing this, whenever you see stories like this in the news, usually, or on ID or a crime show, usually the kids, for every story I've seen about cyber stalkers or things that like happen like this, the kids always at the end say, I will never do this again. I've learned my lesson. Not that it's her fault, and they say, I'm not going to go into chat rooms anymore. I'm not going to do this kind of behavior. I'm not going to try to do this to encourage this kind of thing. This girl's like back at it, you know? Mm-hmm. She just, it's like it didn't even faze her.
Yeah. All right, now listen, we're going to take a break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. You won't want to miss the next segment either, I promise you. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be back right after this.
From author Salustiano Barrios comes the book, The Lord of the Cage, available on Amazon. In The Lord of the Cage, the sins of the father place a heavy crown on the head of the child, which is why years after a torturous upbringing beneath the thumb of Juan, his son Santiago seeks the ultimate revenge, his father's life, but not before putting the Lord through a similar torment first. Juan is about to experience dark karma that will bring him to the very knife's edge of sanity. Meanwhile, Juan's other child from a second marriage, Victoria, is taking her young son Paul to see his father and perhaps fix the relationship. Calvin is hooked on drugs and is on the hook with some bad dudes who badly want the cash owed to them, interest included. The only way out for him is to convince his wife to have his father-in-law foot the growing bill, but neither of them are aware of Juan's increasingly dire situation. What happens next? Find out when you read The Lord of the Cage from author Salustiano Barrios, available on Amazon. This is a riveting and real page turner. Order your copy right now. Do you want to be a director? Have you been trying to get into directing television or films? Maybe you're interested in how it all works. If so, there's a podcast you will want to add to your playlist. The Directors Podcast with your host, Jeff T. Thomas. The Directors Podcast is a 13-episode limited series featuring some of the most talented television and film directors in the industry. All episodes are available right now. Part 1 features the story of how each director broke into the business. Part 2 is a discussion, director to director, about their process, as well as highlighting some of the most defining moments of their careers. The Directors Podcast is fascinating and enlightening. Listen to industry secrets, get tips on how you can make it in the amazing business of television and film directing. The Directors Podcast with your host, Jeff T. Thomas, is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and your favorite podcast platform. Add the Directors Podcast to your playlist right now. The search for the most dangerous book in the world is about to begin. From authors Wayne E. Haley and Sean P. Haley comes An Apology to Lucifer, now available for sale at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Apple Books, and on the book's official website, anapologytolucifer.com. In An Apology to Lucifer, Father Thomas Morelli thought he knew the story behind Lucifer's fall from heaven. However, upon making the acquaintance of renowned book authenticator Lorenzo Pellegrini and being invited to stay in the opulent Venice villa belonging to Pellegrini's master, Thomas discovers he has only heard part of the story. In Boston, psychoanalyst, best-selling author, and outspoken atheist David Wright has been tasked to handle the funeral arrangements of his dear friend, Albert Kennedy. What could have driven this controversial exorcist to take his own life? The answer, it seems, is contained in a book that isn't supposed to exist. Joining forces, Lorenza, David, and Thomas must race against time to prevent an ancient battle from reigniting. If you enjoyed The Da Vinci Code, you will love this book, An Apology to Lucifer. The most anticipated supernatural thriller of 2022 is now available at BarnesandNoble.com, Amazon, Apple Books, and on the book's official website, anapologytolucifer.com. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. You know, it's been an exciting week. A week ago today, John Durham brought those charges that uncovered the Hillary Clinton spy ring on President Trump while he was in the White House. And I was reading an article. I thought it was a great article in the Federalist. 5 media lies about John Durham's revelations that came out a week ago. And I wanted to go through these. And, you know, the media, they ignored the story the first couple days during the week, and the Super Bowl gave them that opportunity. But by the middle of the week, they started talking about it. And of course, they did what we predicted on Monday. They started villainizing the messenger. Everyone who's talking about it is a right-wing kook and everything else. So I wanted to go through this article in the Federalist, the 5 media lies about the Durham revelations of the last week. 1 is just those crazy right-wingers. In his opening, in the Sussman counteroffensive, a writer with the New York Times, Savage, began the column by noting that Durham's Friday night filing set off a furor among right-wing outlets about purported spying on former President Donald Trump, framing the furor as, I guess they like saying that because like Hitler, you know, as right-wing proves a ready go-to for a contempt media seeking to discount the substance of the reporting. Brian Stelter on CNN hit his talking points repeatedly, saying right-wing media said it was exposing a scandal. This is Stelter. What it's really revealing is how bad information spreads in the MAGA world. Hillary Clinton pushed the right-wingers' angle, tweeting that Trump and Fox are desperately spinning up a fake scandal to distract from the real ones. And of course, this is not right-wingers. It's not MAGA. It's not Hannity. It is Durham has a federal grand jury that he brought witnesses in front of, and they handed out an indictment to the Clinton lawyers. So go and call the grand jury a bunch of MAGA if you want, okay? Yeah. 2, these are the 5 media lies. Pay no attention to the facts behind the filing. The second narrative pushed by Savage, this is his New York Times writer, and then quickly, the New York Times is like where they start the talking point. It's got the credibility of the New York Times, and the rest of the liberals grab onto it.
They're the same people that push the fake Russia story.
Exactly. Too. The second narrative pushed by Savage at the Times and then quickly parroted by his ilk is that the facts behind Durham's most recent court filing are too dense for readers to bother using their brain power to decipher. The facts tend to involve dense and obscure issues, so dissecting them requires asking readers to expand significant mental energy and time, raising the question of whether news outlets should even cover such claims. Savage wrote in his Monday piece on Sussman. CNN quoted the passage in its coverage, demonstrating the other lack of regard the leftist press have for the readers. They think this is what they're saying about this on the left. This is what this means. At least that's what it sounds like to me. Maybe this is too dense for me to understand. I don't know. But that, you know, the legal complexities are so detailed, so complex that the average American who didn't go to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and is not a Rhodes Scholar from Oxford just can't dissect and understand it.
Well, they think
it's above our head.
They all think we're stupid.
The third media lie: there was no infiltration, so there's no story. A third counter pushed in response to Durham's Friday court filing focused on Fox News' coverage, and its opener read this. Lawyers for the Clinton campaign paid a technology company to infiltrate servers belonging to the Trump Tower and later the White House in order to establish an inference and narrative to bring to government agencies linking Donald Trump to Russia, a filing from special counsel John Durham found. Durham never said infiltrate. However, came the rejoinder, at least on this point, the press members suffering from media vapors have a point. Durham did not say infiltrate. Rather, Kash Patel, a former chief investigator for Devin Nunes on the House Intelligence Committee, used that word in an interview with Fox. Durham said the data Sussman provided to the CIA. See, we're getting more information. We thought it was the FBI he was working with. the Clinton lawyer was giving the information stolen from the White House computers to the CIA came from data tech executive Rodney Jaffe, obtained when he exploited his access to sensitive data from the executive office of the president. It goes on and on about that. So this is amazing that no matter what came out last week, the media have spent the entire week not investigating the story, not reporting the story, but doing everything they can do to discount it. The fourth one, but Trump,
that's what they do.
Yeah, the fourth one, and I've heard this one too. Well, Trump wasn't president yet, so this isn't spying or treason. It started before he was president, when Obama was president, and it continued after he was president. And one piece came out that blew my mind. Obama let these guys come in and set up spyware on the computers to leave. When one presidential administration leaves and another one comes in, they use the same computers.
Right.
So they put spyware on the executive office computers, probably the ones up in the residence. That,
maybe this
Barron
always happens.
Using.
Maybe the previous president. Maybe the people always come in and set up a thing to spy on the next person.
No, before Trump, they've always been on the same team. So
that's true.
So Obama allowed them to put spyware on all the computers to monitor before he even left office.
What was the point of this? Why were they doing all this?
Because Trump's dangerous.
They were just convinced that. But what was their end game in doing all this? See, I think a lot of this Hillary concocted in her mind for many reasons. She's insane, and she wanted a distraction from her scandal, so she created a scandal around Trump and did all this stuff. And I think she was very pissed off and wanted to malign him and destroy his reputation and make him out like this big boogeyman and make herself look. She wanted to let the American people know that they screwed up and that they should have elected her and that they made a big mistake because he's a horrible person. But, she's just going to deny. Mm-hmm. That's what she does. I mean, she's a pathological liar.
That's
she's criminally insane.
No doubt about that.
And nobody likes this woman, but she's gonna just press forward as she always does.
I think a little different than that. This is what I think, okay? There's a couple things in play. One, I think they were doing it to try to find something not to arrest him for or impeach him for. I think they were expecting to find some blackmail material they could use against President Trump to get him to play ball with them.
Or to just publicly really humiliate. So since they couldn't find anything, they just made it up.
Yeah, so remember that fake Russian dossier that Comey took, that McCain gave him, was to try to get him to play ball?
Yeah.
That was one reason. Another thing, because, a lot of people are saying, wow, they took a lot of risks here. They took a lot of risks doing all this stuff. This is what they thought, and and I talked about this in the early months of Trump's first term. Mm-hmm. They thought that he was going to be a failure. Okay, and the politicians have said my entire life, a businessman can never be president. You can't run the country like a business. Blah blah blah. They thought that his ideas would fail so miserably that 6 months into his term, the American people would turn on him and want him and demand his resignation on top of this dirt. And I want you guys to think about this, okay? This spy operation had everything to do with President Trump. Nothing had to do with Mike Pence. So in their best case scenario, they were going to make Mike Pence president. Think about that. So I'm getting more interested in how much of a role Pence plays in this because who convinced Trump to pick him. Yeah, how did that come? I thought it was a strange choice for vice president, but this thing about Pence, okay? Because I was just thinking about this today when I was thinking about the Durham investigation, everything they've uncovered about Trump. Nothing they did, and let me tell you, the Democrats and the left. When Pence was governor, they hated him because he allowed therapists to do therapy to teenagers and young people who were gay and all that. Remember that the pray the gay away stuff? They never did anything that would tarnish the reputation of Pence. So Comey, Mueller, all these people working against Trump, they were making a move to make Mike Pence president of the United States. And let me tell you, I will never trust that. I did not like that guy. I used to talk about it all the time, and people would give me a hard time. And I said, you know what? I love Trump. I trust in Trump. He knows. I trusted Pence. He knows things I don't know. So he chose Pence. And I always said this about Pence. You guys will remember that were listening back then. I said, what I don't like about Pence is you can't tell what the man is really like.
Yeah.
He's too polished.
That's true.
And I don't trust guys when I don't know what they're really like. I trust somebody who's unlikable that I know what they're really like more than this Pence character. And I'm really wondering, how much of a role did Pence play in all of this? Okay, now the fifth point was this is all old news. That's not the case. This spying on the White House after Trump was president, that's all new. And 95% of what came out in that Clinton lawyer charge last week from the grand jury is new. I'm not going to go through it all. We've been talking about it all week, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm all over the Durham investigation. Anytime there's something new with the Durham investigation, you are going to hear it on this program. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But I'm starting to get...
You're not going to hear a lot of it on the news, that's for sure.
No. But
everything.
I want to hear what you guys think on very specifically this, okay? I don't want to hear random rants about Pence. Do you all find it suspicious that through all of this working against President Trump, they never do anything about Pence? You know, and it's like they were protecting Pence and they even stopped on that anti-gay stuff of Pence. And why were they working to make Mike Pence president? What is it about Mike Pence that these evil people trusted and wanted him to become president as opposed to President Trump? Let me know in the comments. Listen, we're all out of time, but we will be back next time. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks for listening, everyone.
There's a podcast that you will want to add to your playlist, Warriors for Christ. That's the number 4. Warriors for Christ is a Christian podcast providing biblical teaching without the doctrines of man. In other words, they like to let the Bible explain itself. The format includes non-denominational readings and teachings from the Bible. They also have interviews and whatever the Lord puts on their hearts to present. Life in this world can be very stressful and filled with anxieties. Warriors for Christ will give you the biblical information you need to help deal with all life has to bring. Warriors for Christ confronts many false doctrines which are pervasive in this age and what some call the church in a box. And they also offer a full gospel ministry. Find Warriors for Christ on Podomatic, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Player FM, Stitcher, Deezer, Amazon Podcast, and Spotify. Warriors for Christ. Share the podcast on all of your social media so your friends can listen to Warriors for Christ. That's the number 4. Add it to your playlist right now.